Hi, and welcome to my channel. You're watching Crafting with Tammy, and I'm Tammy. And today I am here with my sister Wendy.
Hi.
She's a graphic designer, and we are going to be making some lovely bling t-shirt. Well, we're going to make a lovely bling t-shirt today. And she's going to tell you about the one that she designed.
So this was a t-shirt that I designed for a client. It says Bling Squad, and usually it's a two-tone color, but I kind of like one color, so I made mine one color. So when I showed Tammy this t-shirt design that I made, she was very interested in learning how to do a rhinestone t-shirt. So today we're going to do a design that she found on Etsy, and it's got these 3 flowers on the shirt. That says faith, love, and hope. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to do that design today on the Cricut.
So without further ado, come on, let's get started.
Okay, so today we're in Design Space and we are going to upload our image that we downloaded from Etsy. Here is our image and we're going to add it to Canvas. So one very important tip I want to give you is that when you're using these templates from Etsy, you need to make sure you write down the size. The size is very important because when they're creating these templates, they're creating them for a specific size rhinestone. The template we downloaded was for SS10. So we can't make this image any smaller or any bigger than the measurements here, or the rhinestones won't fit in. You'll understand more about that as we get into making the actual design on the t-shirt, but just understand that you need to make sure you have these measurements from the templates you download from Etsy. So we're going to go back up and ungroup our design so that they're separate individual files. And so we're going to deselect by clicking on the canvas, and then we're going to work with first this one design. So we're going to click and slide a box over the design, which selects the flowers and the black rectangle that sits underneath. And we want to slice. Now the reason why we're slicing this is so that it cuts the holes out of this black rectangle so that we could use it on our Cricut cut machine. So it will cut out all of these circles. So once it finishes slicing this, we are going to hide 2 layers. So we want to hide the single flower layer, which is the top one, and we're going to hide the darker layer that it sliced out. We're going to click on the icon, and so now we're left with this one block. As you move it, it has cut out all of the rhinestones, and now we want to make sure that our size is correct. So we're going to click on the box, and it is correct. It's 8.76 by 9.96. We're going to do the same thing to the second design, where you drag a box around to select both items. Well, this one is going to be a little bit different because you have 3 things on one rectangle. So what we're going to have to do is you're going to have to manually select. So we're going to click on this bottom section and we're going to move it down. And then we're going to hit shift click. So we are only selecting faith, hope, and love in the black rectangle. And we're going to hit again slice. And the reason we're doing that is because you can only slice 2 objects at a time. You can't do 3. But this particular mat has 3. And so now that we have our 3 sections, we're going to turn off the top layer. We're going to turn off the bottom layer. And we're going to be left with our words that have been sliced out of the rectangle. Now we have an additional step because we have the 3 inner circles of the flower. So we're going to drag our layer so that we can see it up above the rectangle that we just used, and then we're going to select, hold the shift key and select the bottom rectangle. So now that you have the rectangle and the 3 dots selected, and you're going to hit slice one more time. So now we're going to go ahead and turn off their top 2 layers, and now we have this one, and we want to make sure we're going to check the size. Again, it's the same size, 8.76 by 9.96. Now we have our 2 templates ready to go, and I just want to make sure that we turn off the words at the bottom, so we don't need to cut those out. So now we're ready to cut. So we're going to hit make it. And we can start to cut. So this one is a 9 by 10. Same reference for this one. And then we're going to hit continue. Okay, so once you hit make it, it's going to bring you to this page here. You want to make sure if you're using a Cricut Explorer Air 2 that you set your dial to custom, and that's how you would get this this option here. But if you are in a Cricut Maker, this option automatically pops up. So we are going to browse materials, and it's going to bring up under artboard. We're going to select metallic artboard because remember, we're using a thick cardstock that's laminated. So we want to make sure that it cuts through all of the layers. So once we click on metallic poster board, you're going to hit done. And then we're going to go ahead and select more pressure. Because again, we're cutting through thick material here. So we're going to make sure it cuts because we don't want to have to cut this over. And now we're going to hit the buttons to go ahead and make it on our Cricut. So we'll be back as we set up the machine and load our mat into it.
Okay, so we do recommend that you use a strong grip mat. That's going to be your purple mat. And then what I've done is I've taken 2 pieces of cardstock. It's 80 pounds or greater, and I've laminated it. So this would preserve, make it a little bit sturdier, and it would also preserve this so that if I wanted to use this template again, I can do so. So we need to put the paper on there, and I believe she said it was 9. It was running at 9. So I'm going to put it down here portrait style. And I really don't need this brayer because this mat is, when I say it's super sticky, it's super sticky. So therefore we have that on there. And then we're going to do is go ahead and load up the machine. And then when that light blinks, we're going to go ahead and hit that, and it's going to go ahead and begin to cut our first image. So we'll let you watch this for a little bit, not too long. We won't bore you with all the little circles that it's going to do.
Okay, oftentimes when you pull your sheet up after it's been cut, you'll find that some of the dots here have stuck to your flock or your paper for this matter. So you're going to have to spend a little bit of time cleaning this up. But once you do, you can have it and use it, reuse it over and over again. But for first time templates, it's a little time consuming. You have to make sure that your template's really clean. So what I like to do as a hack is you take some regular packing tape like this, and you pull a piece off and put it on your hands, and then you just gently
Or not so gently.
pull on So you'll just gently pull on the mat to pull off your pieces. This to me works faster than taking your weeding tool and poking through and getting them out that way. So after you get so much on there, you have to just make sure you have a clean piece of tape. You might have to go through a few pieces of tape. But again, to me, this hack was a little faster and a little less time consuming. So you want to continue doing that with your tape.
All right, guys, so we are back and we've got both of our images all cleaned up. And what we had to do was, because as you can see, it's holes through here, so you don't want your rhinestones to fall through the holes. So what we did was we put some double-sided adhesive tape. I have some in different sizes over here, and we put that on the back of it. We'll go ahead and continue to finish doing that one, and then we adhered a piece of cardstock on there. Okay, and so when you put it on there, you'll put it all around the holes. Don't put it on the holes because you don't want the rhinestones sticking to this. You want them to stick to your transfer paper. When you put the transfer paper, you want them to come out. You don't want them to be stuck to there. So be careful when you put your double-sided adhesive on there, okay? And so I started on this one, just flipped it over, and what you're gonna do is just take pieces of it, like we said, and you're just gonna put it on the back of the image, making sure that you're not coming in contact with any of the holes. And that's gonna be it. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this up, and then we're gonna go ahead and show you how we put the rhinestones in and get the heat transfer tape on, okay? Stay tuned.
Okay, now we have gotten our backing on our template. So we are going to start pouring the rhinestones in a tray. I use a cookie sheet, a brand new cookie sheet, because it's simpler. You can find other trays on Amazon, but the cookie sheet was something I had already, so I didn't have to spend any money on it. But you can buy these relatively inexpensive, and I believe they have some at the dollar store. Just get the largest one that you can find. And so that just keeps the rhinestones from going everywhere. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pour these rhinestones all over our pattern. And these are SS10 rhinestones. You can order these SS10 rhinestones from Amazon. You wanna make sure that they are hot fix rhinestones, not to be confused with the regular rhinestones that you would use with a glue. Now you wanna make sure that it says hot fix and that it's SS10, because that is what our template off of Etsy called for. And this is the exact reason why we cannot shrink the design or make the design bigger. Because as you can tell, if this was smaller or bigger, these rhinestones would not fit into the holes. So we wanna make sure that we adhere to the size that they had given us on Etsy when we upload to Cricut Design Space. You're not going to be able to fill them all in, but you want to get the majority in. And then once you get most of the rhinestones in place, you can just push the rhinestones off to the side, and we're going to use our jewel picker to make sure to fill in any holes and separate any that might have doubled up. So we're just gonna go ahead and use our jewel picker now, and we're gonna place any one rhinestone that is missing and any of them that are extra. Okay, once you have all of your rhinestones in place, you want to gently, and I mean gently, lift the card out of the tray. And we're gonna take this tray away, and you're going to place that on a flat surface. Be careful not to bump, or if you do bump, you're going to have to start all over again. So now we are going to use our transfer paper. This is paper that you can get on Amazon. It's made for rhinestones. And we're going to cut this transfer paper down to the size of our graphic. Right there. And I highly recommend that you use 2 people for this process. So we're going to go ahead and take the backing off. And one person will grab one end, one person grabs the other end, and you're going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to go down at the same time. And it usually will help you get this done on the first go around. However, if you not have a person with you to help you put this adhesive down, you're going to have to use a U shape, which you would take your transfer tape and hold it like this. And then you would have to put it down this way. Now, sometimes when you do it that way, I find that it shifts a little bit, but that's okay. Because if it does shift, you would just take your fingernail and move the rhinestones back in place until they're on the right spot. So now that we have our transfer tape on, we're going to give it another once around to make sure all of the rhinestones have stuck to it. And now we're going to take our adhesive off of the paper very slowly. Oh, you see we lost one. So you just gently put it back down, press on the area. Oh, that one's being a little stubborn. All right. Try it again. There. Okay, that one wants to be stubborn. That's okay. We can fix it. And we're going to continue to pull these off very slowly and gently. And then we have it. So now we've got to go back and fix the one rhinestone that didn't want to come off. So we're going to go ahead and get our tweezers. And here's the hole where it's left. So we're going to go back to our mat, and we're going to take our rhinestone off. Make sure it's upside down this time. And we're going to just place him right here. So now our flower part of the rhinestone is good to go. So since we have to do another part, what I like to do is put the backing back over top until I'm ready to go to the heat press. So we're going to go ahead and do our second part. Okay, so we're back and we're going to do part 2. So the stems of our flowers are going to be green. So we're going to pour this green, and this is like a blue green. We're going to pour the rhinestones on this section, and we are going to fill that in with green. Typically, what we usually do is we separate so that we don't have to be too concerned with 2 colors overlapping and all that. But since the little centers of the flowers are small enough, we're just going to go ahead and use this method for getting all of the green stem in. And once we have that in, we are going to use our jewel picker, and we're going to place all of the centers in by hand, since there's only a few. And I really like the way this green is. It's got some blue in it. It's a little sparkly. So we did pretty good. We have a few missing, so we'll just take our jewel picker and fill those in. And then we are going to use a goldish color for our centers, and we will hand put those in. So while she is working on filling in the green, I'm going to go ahead and start hand putting in our brown centers.
I really didn't realize how tedious this was.
Yeah, it's a long process, but the end results are well worth the effort.
You always have to try it. You never know until you try it. And so I'm trying it, guys. And it's always good to have two sets of eyes on this, because what you may overlook, the other person may pick up. And I'm just double checking to make sure we don't have any duplicate double rhinestones here, which I don't see. All right, guys, we'll be back with you when we get this all filled in and we get the transfer tape on, and then we'll take a walk on over to the heat press and get it going. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, we are back, and we have the stems of the flowers, which we did with the green rhinestones, and then we have the center of the flowers, which we did with a yellowish type of, goldish yellowish type of rhinestone. So now we have the heat transfer paper, and we're going to go ahead and 1, 2, 3, place that down. Make sure that that's in there good.
All right, I think this is all good. So we're gonna slowly, how about we do it this way this time? We're gonna pull this off the mat and flip it over.
Backwards.
And then, ooh. And then we're going to pull this
Guys,
off.
it's really sticky because we're using paper. We're using cardstock. We did laminate the cardstock, the top portion of it, but we're using cardstock. We're being cheap instead of buying flock and doing it. And we're doing it because we saw other YouTube videos where they have done it with
this isn't working. Okay, so we tried to do it this way because it was turning our rhinestones, but one of them popped off. So we're going to have to fix these. Again, learning how to fix your errors is really a good thing. So we're going to take our tweezers, and we have to figure out there's one missing there. So I think the other method was better.
face up.
Yes, pulling the transfer tape face up. Just trying to flatten these. Trying to figure out where the other one needs to go. Is it there? No. Where did the one missing go?
It's sticking to our fingers. You want to turn it over and maybe see if you can see it where the words are facing the right way. We can see tell where it is.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Let's see if we can see where that rhinestone is missing.
I think it may be, is it the O? No, it's not that. Faith looks good. Hope looks good. I think it might be this little top part of the O.
Okay.
So we're gonna just take our tweezers.
And I did see a couple of places where they needed to be pressed down.
Okay.
Try these. They've got a better grip on them. So I thought.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and place the adhesive back to flip the rest of these because it's easier to do on the adhesive back. So I'm just going to put this back on. And then we're going to flip them over and make sure they're all face down. That's very important. that they're all face down, because when we put them on the heat press, we want to be sure that they get glued to your fabric. And it looks like this is all good. So we're going to head over to the heat press and we're going to go ahead and put our design on.
Stay tuned. Okay guys, we are back here at the heat press and we have our base of the flowers. These are the stems and the center of the flowers, and we have done a pre-press, and we're going to go ahead and let this be pressed on 300 for 12 seconds. Stay tuned. Okay guys, first part done. Beautiful. Now for the second one, we have to line up the stems and the center of the flowers. And we're going to press that again for about another 12 seconds. And this is the tedious part here. Lining that up. Because once you set that on there, you really can't keep picking it up. Oh, I love it. Love it. Looks good. So we're going to press this for another 12 seconds at 300 degrees. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we're back and we're wrapping it up today for our session on making a rhinestone t-shirt, and my sister's going to explain to you some tips and tricks that we've learned along the ways that could be helpful for you. And take it away, Wendy.
Okay, so the first tip you want to remember when you're ordering these rhinestone templates off of Etsy, you want to make sure that they have the size dimensions and this type of stone that you're going to use. Because it's very important, as you saw when we did the video earlier, how when you upload it, you have to make sure that the design uploads into Cricut in those exact dimensions in order for the rhinestones to fit. You also want to make sure when you're ordering your rhinestones from Amazon, Alibaba, or wherever you decide to get them from, that you make sure you order hot fix rhinestones, not regular rhinestones, because they will not adhere to the fabric of the t-shirt. Now, for someone who's running a business and they are going to make a design and sell multiple of, I definitely recommend that you use a flock to cut out your design in, because you can adhere it to some plastic table mats that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and then you can use them time and time again. However, for our purposes today, as we showed you, we used cardstock in order to make our template, because cardstock is less expensive and it's easier for customization. Now, because she laminated this template that we use today, she can use it over again. But say, for example, you're customizing it for one person, you can throw it away and not have to worry about the expense of it. So that's the other tip that I wanted to make mention. Also, you want to give yourself some time. Making a rhinestone template and cutting it out and making a shirt is very time consuming and can be tedious. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of time, that you're not in a rush, because the inevitable will happen sometimes and you'll have mistakes, and try to learn how to fix those mistakes, as we gave you some tips on how things didn't work out for us and what we did to fix it. So I hope these tips can help you, and if you're interested in learning how to take a regular SVG file and convert it into a rhinestone pattern, feel free to search the YouTube channel, because they have plenty of YouTubers out there that will take you through that process. But for today's video, we just wanted to make it short and sweet and show you how to get those rhinestones on your shirt.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week's collaboration with my sister Wendy. If you have any questions, or if you like what you've seen, or you've learned something today, do us a favor and go ahead and hit the like button down below and leave me a comment if you have any questions or any concerns in regards, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Until next time, guys, be blessed.